Hi guys, welcome to Check In with
Rose and Naka.
So, for those people that don't know, International Women's Day always has a theme every year, and the theme for this year is balancing the scale. So, in balancing the scale, this year we're highlighting the justice, injustice, the safety for women, and also highlighting just the inclusivity and equality. So, how are you balancing the scale for all the women that are watching? That's a question for you. This year until next year, March, how are you going to balance that scale? And one thing that stood out for me is basically a woman who has been a pioneer for women, the late Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou, anytime she sits in rooms, she always reminds people that irrespective of her sitting as an individual, she comes as 10,000. So a quote that she goes by is, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. Today in this podcast, we're honoring our mothers, our grandmothers, the matriarch that we probably have heard of, and as being children who've grown up in the diaspora that have not had the opportunity to sit with them and even hear their stories directly from them. This is for them today. We are honoring those mothers, and we would like you guys to also honor your mothers or honor your caregivers, any woman in your life that has impacted you one way or the other. So, welcome.
Welcome. We're so excited. I feel like as women, we're not as celebrated, as embraced, especially as a community. So we are so excited for you guys to all tap in. And for me, one quote that really resonated with me for this theme would be the First Lady, Michelle Obama, where she states that there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. And that really resonated with me, especially given my personal lived experience, my ongoing transformation as a woman, as a mother. So I'm really excited to tap in. Get your coffee, get your tea, get your snacks. I feel like cultural expectation and cultural conditioning, especially around gender roles, has influenced my capacity to even have a voice. Not just silent in my voice, that you shouldn't be loud, and that if you're being too loud, you're seen as someone that doesn't respect themselves. Especially in my circumstances where I'm a devoted mother, I'm shifting away from, I used to label myself as devoted mother and independent mother, but I'm shifting from independent mother. But yeah, obviously being a mother in a single parent household, I have the pressure of, yes, I'm ambitious and I'm doing all these things, but where is the man in the house? Like, not having that husband. So for me, it's another layer of challenge. And I guess I'm redefining what that looks like in terms of strength.
It's a hard one.
Yeah, it's a really hard one. It's a really difficult one because it's one where I'm still navigating.
Yeah.
I'm still becoming. I'm still even trying to process what that looks like for me. And I come with all these additional layers. I'm a woman in a single parent household. I'm a black woman. I'm a South Sudanese woman. So there's all these layered identities. So it's like I'm navigating that in the diaspora as well. Where do I fit in society, in systems, culturally? So it's one of those. I think I'm still redefining what strength can look like. But I've definitely, in simple words, I've been able to redefine it as, I don't need to say that I'm strong because I'm human and I have emotions. Not long ago, I've been able to actually tell myself that, Rose, you don't need to be strong. Yes, you're resilient, but your resilience stems from your vulnerabilities. So I gain my strength because of the adversities that I've gone through in my life. But it doesn't mean, I feel like just saying be strong or you're strong isolates that adversity or that hardship. So for me, I tell myself that I'm resilient because I've been able to continuously and ongoingly overcome those adversities that I've gone through in my life. So I think that's just, yeah, it's a tricky question, and it's one of those I'm still navigating, because yeah, like people see me like, oh, you're so strong, and you're taking up spaces, and you're doing such an amazing, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that acknowledgement, but internally it's a battle. It's a battle that I'm going through, because it takes a lot of sacrifices, it takes a lot of compromise, like compromising, and a lot of mirror work, like a lot of looking within myself, and that's hard. Holding yourself accountable, reflecting on past situations, and becoming a better version of yourself. So this question is one of those that I'm still navigating, because I'm still becoming, and I'm a lifelong learner, just like Nakel. It's one of those that I know that there's always room to grow and heal and find different ways of healing.
For me is, how do I balance within myself first before I can even say that I'm going to go balance it outside? And obviously we mentioned equality, we mentioned justice, we also mentioned safety. What does safety look like for you? So for me, safety for me 10 years ago and safety for me now is completely different. So as we unpack balancing the scale, I really just want you as the audience to think about what is it that you want to balance. However that looks like for you, just know that it's never minute, that is so tiny that it's not going to help. And I was saying something earlier to Rose, how in our nature, biologically, in our autonomy, right, we actually are always functioning from the brain, the heart, all together. So for me, balancing the scale is sitting with pain and strength or joy together. There's not one or the other. So yeah, that coexistence, and that coexistence starts with you yourself, and in that autonomy. Once you got to that part, then you're able to come and pass it on to other people. But yeah, Rose, what's your insight on that?
Yeah, so balancing the scales for me, I actually had the privilege of being invited by Chisholm to come and present for the International Women's Day. And the theme, balancing the scales, when I looked into it a little bit more, what came up for me, and in terms of what I wanted to present, was, because I had to think about for me, I was like, okay, balancing the scales, like how we spoke about, justice, equality, fairness, you know what I mean? I had to look at myself first as a South Sudanese woman in the diaspora. So I was like, if I'm being invited, this is an opportunity to be a voice for the voiceless. This is an opportunity to be a voice for the minority. So I went in and I actually spoke about the invisible weight that multicultural girls and women carry in systems and society. So for me, I mentioned in the speech towards the end, I said, justice is the goal, balance is the outcome. And what that represents for me is, if you want to be in community spaces where you're advocating, where you're empowering, marginalized and vulnerable communities, you have to also look within yourself as an individual, back to what Naka was saying, and questioning or challenging your own assumptions and biases about other diverse communities, as well as women as well. So if I want to create safety for other women, if I want to create, if I want to empower other women, what that looks like for me is I need to know not just only who I am, but ingrain that compassion towards other women as well. So I'd say balancing the scale is seeing women and girls from diverse backgrounds, from all walks of life, as we are all equal. There's, I'm not better, and I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not more superior. I looked at it as, when I see other women from that compassion lens, and especially knowing that we share similar joy and challenges, like you mentioned, how that all coexist, then to ensure that justice is the goal and balance is the outcome, that I need to first ingrain all of the characteristics within myself so that I can go into the community and just promote a culturally safe space for other women and girls. But yeah, it's one of those that you're still, it doesn't make me perfect. I'm still learning. I'm still, we live in, in Australia, in the diaspora, where it's, very multicultural. So I'm learning about different beliefs, different values that are unfamiliar to myself. And yeah, I guess that's where, when I've started to learn about cultural humility, which the principles is, being respectful, being open-minded, being accountable, because that's the only way that you can, be able to practice it. That really helped me to see other women in terms of, their diversity.
The fact that we had really strong mothers, really resilient mothers, grandmothers who, quote unquote, will not be acknowledged in the Western world, in the sense of achievements, but they have also achieved a lot. These mothers who've, for example, in I think it was Kenya, or it's one of those countries, actually even in South Sudan itself, we have women right now that have stopped almost 300 child marriages. So it's things like that, I guess here, graduating, buying a house, and quote unquote achieving the Western or Australian lifestyle, yes, those are achievements. We can never take away from anything that a woman has achieved. But I think because now we come here and we look at our mothers sometimes and, oh, now I'm the one who's graduated, or now I'm the one who, quote unquote, has got married or got in a relationship, and then you start looking down on your mothers. So I think for me, I look at it like, how do I balance that scale where I'm upholding my mothers, I'm upholding my grandmothers in understanding their strength that took me here. However, also acknowledging that now cannot take me where I need to be, because there's spaces and there's things that I need to navigate and move in a different way, go through a different path. But like I mentioned before, like Maya Angelou says, I sit on this couch as Narkel, but behind Narkel there was 10,000 women before me that led me to be this woman that I am. And it's me acknowledging them, but also now that I'm moving forward, is how do I balance that scale for my younger sisters, right? In a way that I'm uplifting them, but also not just watching them step into spaces sometimes when, yes, they're still shaking, but as Africans, sometimes we are our own downfall, as women, because we step into this space where you've built an organization, you've built a business, and somehow the people behind you or the people that helped you get there are no longer standing with you. So we wanted to speak about like that sisterhood. How do we build that tribe? Because at the end of the day, we are somehow in this Western world the minority. You still need your sisters. You still need those women that, when your ego gets the best of you, they can say, wait, hold up, Naka, like slow down. How are you? Remember why we got here from the beginning. Why are you doing what you're doing? That's how I see balancing the scale becoming. And the next question that we had was actually redefining strength. So Rose, how would you explain for yourself redefining what strength is, and even right now, what is strength to you? Has that shifted? Does that remain the same? What does that look like for you?
It's definitely changed. Strength for me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, definitely looks different to how it is now. For me, I've shifted from being strong to being resilient. And the reason why is because resilience doesn't isolate my vulnerabilities. It doesn't isolate my hardships. It doesn't isolate the adversities that I've gone through. It's saying, yes, there's a strength that I have within myself, but that contributes to the vulnerabilities that I've experienced. So when I'm told, oh, you're strong, and it's like, no, I'm human. I have feelings, and this situation took a toll on me mentally, emotionally, and physically. And yes, I can still show up in all these roles as a mother, as a woman, as a daughter, as a colleague, as all these things, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I can be vulnerable. And it doesn't, I just don't want being called strong isolate that. I want the vulnerabilities to still be acknowledged and validated to get to where I am now. To get to the position that I'm in now is because of reflection and because of those experiences. So for me, redefining strength is honoring my experience, honoring. It goes back to what you spoke about our grandmothers, our mothers, honoring them as well along the journey, because again, if it wasn't for my mother, if it wasn't for my father, I wouldn't be here. And also living, building a legacy for my children. And it goes back to what you mentioned when you were speaking before. I was thinking about how, for me personally, when we speak about breaking generational patterns, it shouldn't necessarily mean that you're isolating yourself from your family. That is still your bloodline. So for me, how I've been able to translate it is that I'm breaking generational patterns because there's certain things that my mother and my father did not have the capacity, did not have the knowledge, did not have the love that they've experienced from their parents to get to where I can be now. Right? So it is because of them. They are the foundation, the foundation to where I am now. So they've established that, and I'm just carrying their legacy. And for me, that's what breaking generational patterns is. It doesn't mean that I'm isolated from them. It means that I'm carrying their bloodline, but I have certain privileges. I have certain, that's what it would be. I have certain privileges, and I'm going to take advantage of that.
For me, strength was at some point, or the word strong was something that at a stage that I was going through just a lot of turmoil, a lot of emotions, a lot of questioning, and being the oldest of obviously my siblings, I got to a point that I didn't want to hear the word strong. Don't call me strong. I wanted to break. I wanted to cry. I wanted to feel like I don't want to cook. I wanted to be able to say that today I'm tired and I was just gonna binge on TV and just not do anything, and I could still exist.
Right.
And I'm still enough. And I was privileged in the sense that I've always had a village. My mom created that village for me. So I've always had aunties who were young and close to me. And I remember at some point, that time I was really going through it. And one of them was like, Nakel, they'll say it in my language, you've done this before, you always take care of your siblings. Why can't you just say you're strong? I said, do not call me strong. Don't call me strong. And she was shocked. I said, I don't want to hear that word. And I was so angry because I realized at some points then, because you've held this togetherness and you're a champion of just going through stuff and you're just
go.
And then everybody just thinks you're okay. No. I reached my breaking point, but I was able to say, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be strong right now. And guess what? My sisters, my siblings somehow started doing the things that I was doing. And to put that back to myself and to put that back to all you girls that are out there that are older sisters that are holding your family together, I had to sit myself and say, Naka, you know what? you're somehow a part of the problem. And this is balancing the scale.
That's right.
Because at some point, there was something that felt good. When those aunties come and be like, oh, Naka's such a good girl. She's taking care of her siblings. You know, her mom went overseas. Now she's doing this. She's doing... Ego. We're human beings. I loved it until that became what? A breaking point to me. Because unfortunately, we are around a community that is so used to go, 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 go. And this is where I said, what my mom, my aunties, my grandmother was go, 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 that's no longer Naka. I don't want to do that. Even in the life that I'm going to have as yet to be a mother, the wife that I'm going to be, I'm redefining that. Where I can actually say, no, I don't want visitors at home today. I don't want to see nobody. I want to sit in my space and I want my husband to be able to respect that. You know, I want to say that today I just feel like this house, I'm going to buy junk food and not do anything, and it doesn't make me lazy.
Yeah.
You know, I want to relax. You know, so that for me now has become like, I've seen the pattern of our mothers where go, 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 and then boom, they break. And what happens with the breaking? This is when you start seeing the behavior of, in this generation now, substance. So people are trying to fill that void elsewhere. They're doing things that, quote unquote, we claim we don't understand, but realistically, we are doing it. We're just not speaking about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The first time I did not want to be at home because home was becoming too much and I was go, 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 go. I'm doing uni, I'm taking care of my siblings, I'm still working. When I broke, I realized, I was like, Mom, I don't want to do it. And whether you guys call me lazy or not, I was okay with being called lazy at that point. You're just not going to call me strong. And that's fine. And that is balancing it. And sometimes to balance things, it's not, you don't understand it. So for me, strength is sitting in my truth, in that awareness and saying, I'm tired, and listening to my body and taking that break. And also not looking at it like, because now I'm tired or now I'm not doing what I needed to, what I was used to doing, that something's wrong with me. No, nothing's wrong with me. It's actually my body saying, take a break. Because guess what? At some point, that break is going to be what? The hospital bed. It's going to be when you're burnt out and you're sitting in that emergency room and now the doctors, even they get overwhelmed because they can't find out what the hell's wrong with you. Because your whole body is overworked. Is it the brain? Is it the heart?
Trauma carried in the body.
You know? So my redefining of strength is right now, I want that, what is it? Soft life.
Soft life.
I want that soft life.
Girl.
Soft girl. Yes, I can still be strong. I can still be resilient. But I want to be soft. I want to sit in that someone else can acknowledge and be like, Nako, hey, hold up. Even in our friendships. Rose, what do you need help with? I don't even ask. See it.
Point
you know,
out.
when you going to your sister's house and she's so overwhelmed with her kids, maybe all you need to do is be like, okay, you know what? You have a shower, I'm going to take the kids to the park.
Exactly. Oh, do you know how relieving that was?
Something like that, you know? And I'm blessed that I was able to do that for my aunties, you know? Where I was able to be like, you know what? You guys go out. I've stayed with a 6-month-old baby because one of my cousins did not have a auntie here or an uncle. And I did it because I understood what she needed that break. But until I broke first, I don't think I would have been able to do that because it'd be like, Mom did it. You know, you start to realize you've also been programmed where I would be expecting Rose to take care of her 2 kids, still show up to things and be like, when she's saying she's tired, like, what do you mean? Why tired? Because our moms have taught us that. Why tired? Do you know we walked for this long? Do you know, okay, you guys struggled physically, but we struggled in Australia mentally. So it's balancing that. So I'm redefining that to, I want a soft girl, Ella. So until I'm old and grey, I'm gonna be my soft girl.
Nah. Literally the other day, I wrote something and I said, soft life in my queendom. The way I just embraced in that, I was like, that's it, soft girl in my queendom. That's it. Until God sent that king. But I'm like, wow, this is peaceful.
Yeah.
This is nice. I can do whatever I feel like. I can rest. I don't have to worry about cooking a meal for my husband when he comes home until the day that it comes. But I can still choose to be like, no, if I don't want to cook today, I don't want to cook today.
Yeah.
So I think it's going back to honoring yourself, honoring your needs, and honoring your body.
Yeah.
When your body needs rest. And I used to be like that too. I'm like, I'm on the go, constantly coming home, soon come home, cook, clean. The house has to be spotless. I don't feel like, I'm going to be in a dirty place. I'm not going to be able to study. I'm not. One day I said, 2 days, I don't care how many dishes are in that sink. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing, I am tired. Like, it got to the point I burnt out. I'm finding myself on my way to work just breaking down. It's because I'm carrying all
your body's like
these emotions, all these suppressed.
It's like, we're gonna get it out. Today, it's coming out.
Today, everything's coming out. Tears are just streaming down my face. Well, I didn't get the time to listen to my body.
Yeah.
When my body was telling me,
slow down.
Slow down. You need to rest. Have a cuppa. Get up a little bit earlier. Enjoy your cup of tea before you leave. I'm always on rush, rushing to work, rushing to take the school. Quick, hurry up! You gotta get ready. Let's go. Like,
yeah.
There's no stillness. And this year's theme, the church that I go to, is the year of stillness, and it was actually a reminder of Rose. Even the church
is telling you. Everybody's telling you. Slow your ass down. Slow down.
Stillness, and that itself is balancing the scale for you yourself as a girl, as a woman out there, taking time to. Yeah, like I know we carry so much responsibilities as especially the first eldest daughters, or even just females in the household. There's so much responsibility. There's so much expectation. To look after siblings. To we're the cultural navigators. We're the translators. We're the ones translating the forms, the documents for our parents. That itself is mentally exhausting. You're going to work. You're coming back home, and you need to support your mom or your dad with filling out a form,
and you don't feel like it,
and you don't feel like it, but if you refuse, they're like, what, you don't want to help because you think it's like, God, what. So you're always doing something, but it's once you get to a point in your life, as Naka mentioned, you can redefine what strength looks like, and that can look like saying, no, mom and dad, today I don't feel like it, I'm exhausted, I need a rest. And whether they accept that or not, it's going to be difficult for you the first time. And I know saying it is easy, but once you get to a point where you harness that strength, whatever it looks like for you, you can actually be like, no, actually, I really cannot do that today.
Womanhood looks like silence, respect, in the sense that as a young girl, you navigate life where they look at you that you should almost always do as you're told. Yeah, so there's someone that has defined a path for you. For example, South Sudan girls at the age of 8, 9 are already married off. There's already there's a suitor for you before you're even hit puberty.
Yeah.
For them, it was getting married young, and I mean at that time maybe there's no schooling, but they were basically raised to become wives, and it's quite unfortunate, but a lot of African communities, that's what literally a woman is, cook, clean, do all of that. And even when you are doing your career, you get compared to somebody who is holding their house and quote unquote is the wife that has no career. For me, I remember my mom being the stubborn wife because my dad has other wives, and it was when she stepped out to want to learn English, to want to go to Swan. A lot of people might relate to this. So it was a South Sudanese, that time we didn't invite yet, Sudanese Women Association in Nairobi. And mom used to go to conferences, and I was young, but I would hear stories like they would call her names, like why is she out trying to make or do stuff for herself when her husband is there, So a career woman is very new in our culture. Like, we need to be honest about that. And it being new does not mean it's wrong. It just means it's uncomfortable. And I think I started to sit with our mothers in understanding them, because anytime you're given something unfamiliar, you first reject it. But that rejection doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's uncomfortable. It's to you, it's you don't know it. You don't know what it's gonna look like. So girls like us who are following careers, who are saying that I wanna have this in my bank account, or I wanna have be in this sort of position because before I become a mother, before any of that stuff, you're looked at as what makes you think you're better, because at the end of the day, you be in the kitchen, and you get compared to, okay, how come you're not holding your house to this sort of standard? You know, there's a standard set out for you. Is that a bad thing? It could differ. So for me, I didn't take it personal when my aunties would be like 25, 26, 27, Naka, when are you getting married? You know, I didn't take it to heart. I didn't take it personal because that's what they know. And there's almost a fear with them, like, so is there something wrong with our daughter? What's wrong with Narkel? Why is it Narkel, you know, stepping into whatever they had path that had been curved out or created out? But I got to a point where I realized, and I was like to them, yeah, you guys will find out that I'm a bit harsh sometimes. But I asked one of my aunts, I was like, are you happy in your marriage? And they will pause. Because nobody's ever asked them that. Nobody cares if you're happy or not.
Right.
All they care is that you're married.
Well, you're married, that's it.
You know? And some will be like, happy? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
Now I've raised something that now even makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm like, look, I'm not here to judge you. I believe in something that, again, me and my quotes, if someone's going to advise you, are you willing to trade their life for yours? Will you willingly trade the lifestyle that they're living right now? If I'm not willing to trade that life that you have for me, for mine, then that means why am I listening to you? Why would I take that advice? You know, but also that's still in that balance where I'm understanding when they say that to me, it's what they know. They've only lived that life. So I'm asking in a way where I want to learn more about them, and it's not in an ignorant way to say that I'm better. I'm not looking down on them. I'm just getting them to actually unpack things that conversations they've never had before, that they never had the luxury to, you know, ask. So our parents were, not our parents, our mothers, because obviously this podcast is about women and we'll be speaking about women. Sorry, men, we're going to keep it strictly women. But our mothers, our grandmothers had a way that life was basically, this is the life path. This is what you are going to become. You're going to be that daughter that's going to be raised respectfully. You're going to go to that house, and you know what? You're going to blend two families, right? The marriage part. And hence why achievements and all that stuff is well and good to them. But to be honest, mostly they're still going to be like, when you're getting married, you can get that PhD and be that doctor.
Or when you have
in the back on the head is still, when you're going to get married. Then after that, when you're going to have a kid.
Or so, when's your next kid?
Yeah. So it's not for us to judge them and say it's wrong. It's for us to understand where did that mentality come from. You know, and even now that we're navigating other ways and other parts, let's still honor them. You know, so I do get why that's what their path was. And I'm sitting here as someone who's getting, you know, married this year, or somebody who got engaged 2 years ago at 35. And my parents have taken it well. My mom has accepted it in a way that she is even more complimenting to me now, where she sees it. She wished that could have been an opportunity for her, because my frontal lobe has grown.
That's right.
My decision making is better. You know, I know why I do what I do. I'm actually so content with a lot of things. So it's that way. Like it's for you to just sit and ask them, okay, I see how motherhood has been defined for you, or sisterhood, or being a woman has been defined for you. But let's redefine that. And Mom, I'm not redefining it because I think you're bad or I'm better than you. I just think who you are and the lifestyle you had is not supported, or will not be supported in a way that is, what's the word I'm looking for? That will help me reach my highest potential, especially in this day and age, in this Western world. You know, if we were back home in Africa in the village, man,
Yeah,
then
different
could have
times.
been a mother of 5, 6 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, but times have changed.
Yeah.
So we need to grow with time.
Yeah.
But how was that for you? How do you think womanhood or motherhood or just being a woman was defined?
In my situation, it would definitely look different to yours, because my mother actually lost her mother at a very tender age. Very, very young. She was probably maybe like 5 or 6 years old. And you can imagine how life would look like back home, you know, at the time, obviously. And then, you know, her father had, like, you know, other wives. So life was really challenging for my mother. She's encountered quite traumatic experiences that I'm not comfortable to share here, and this is something that I've been able to come to a better understanding or a better comprehension to why she was the way she is, and why womanhood or motherhood, she was able to define it in the way that she defined it. So, and then obviously we had left. She was very young when she met my dad, so she was really young in her teenage years. So she married young, she had me young. So you can imagine that's her young adulthood taken away, because now she's become a mother at a very young age. She's not even had a mother, you know what I mean? So she hasn't been nurtured from her own mother. So, and then, having to leave home and then assimilate into a new country at a young age. She was probably in her early 20s. No English, no education. She's a mother of 2. Just even navigating that in itself would have been very challenging, as well as with my father. And, obviously circumstances had happened, and then, she had divorced with my father. So then now navigating single parenting, being isolated because, we didn't have our first, our first cousins or immediate family members here in Australia, where she could have at least gotten that support and have that community. I can imagine where she also got pressure with, not being married, not being, in the same household with her husband. So I can imagine just the things that she has gone through then, now similar things that I'm going through as well. So I guess I got a lot of still navigating that, and I believe that's where I was able to. I always say that one characteristic that I got from my mother is her resilience, because to be able to navigate, being a young mom, not even having, not have had the opportunity to have that relationship with her own mother, assimilating into a new country, being a single parent, like I mentioned, not having the community at the time, trying to learn a new language, going through lots of difficult hardships, here in Australia. And then obviously when myself, I had a child very young, I was like 18, 19 when I had my firstborn. And then obviously throughout the time when I was with the father of my child, and then obviously we had separated. So now she felt a lot of pressure on her end, whereas it was like, I didn't have a 2-parent household. So I need you to at least carry that and have that. Over time I was able to stand on, look, this is not working, and like I have to move forward. Like it's not something that's gonna work out. So anyway, and then I got into another relationship, and then I had my youngest boy, and then there was a lot of pressure of like maintain this one, like maintain and keep this relationship, and I feel like a lot of it stemmed from her own like personal lived experiences. Like she had such great intentionality for my life, but for me it was translated in like a harmful way. And I suppose, yeah, when with the second one, she was like, oh, just try to maintain this one. Obviously, that one unfortunately didn't end up working. But over time, she understood. Like the more I had to look internally within myself and reflect on both of those relationships and what wasn't working, why wasn't working, who am I outside of these relationships, because that's pretty much all I've known. It's always being in relationships. So because of that, I've always identified myself within that relationship. So I didn't really know who I was.
Yeah.
So I've lost touch of my identity. I've lost touch of self, because all I know is that there's a validation of being in a relationship.
Yeah. So you're basically, in hindsight, basically saying that because your mom was not able to have anybody guide her, automatically it was get married, have kids.
Yeah.
And then when that became your reality, then she turned around and said, since it didn't work out for me, you must maintain
and have that.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of pressure in that sense.
Yeah.
Because mind you, like I said, I didn't even know who I was. And obviously, again, grateful for the way God orchestrated my life, but I genuinely did not know who I was as a girl, as a woman. And when finally I think the last 2 to 5 years, that's when I started tapping into, well, who is Nyaron, who is Rose outside of a relationship? Because I've been in relationships for so long. Like, that's all I've known. I didn't know anything outside of that. And I was sort of guided by, the person that I was with, if that makes sense. So I suppose coming back to with my mother, I think it's something because, there's that cultural conditioning of get married, have kids, stay in the one household, you're being mistreated, just endure. Endurance was just, that's what it is. It's just endurance, because just to endure whether it was a healthy or unhealthy relationship. And because we ourselves didn't have the knowledge or the understanding to be able to differentiate what is healthy and what is unhealthy, because all we were told is that you remain there irrespective to how you feel. So a lot of our emotions as women were dismissed, and over time I feel like because it was dismissed, we ingrained strength. So you just be strong. It goes back again to just be strong. Like that's how men are. It's okay, they get another wife, that's it's normal.
And I think what you've done is basically you've decentered men.
That's
which
right.
is something that I think our mothers are struggling with in this generation. How women are able to say, quote unquote, guys, and you guys might look at this and be like, it's negative. No, it's International Women's Day, and we're gonna call it like it is. Do you need a man or do you want a man? So with our mothers, it was you need a man.
You need a man,
You need to be defined as so and so's wife.
That's right.
That's where the respect comes. That's But now we women, where we're actually being like, I can be able to say, I'm not ready to be in a marriage. I'm not ready to be in a union. Or even I'm in a union, I don't want it to be defined as a marriage. I can sit with it. I can be able to court, date, get to know myself, get to know whoever these people are. But I don't necessarily, I'm not driven by that. And our mothers struggle with that.
They really do.
They really struggle with the fact that we say relationships are.
It's like, what do you mean?
I think it's us now even learning to be able to teach our daughters and our sisters that be able to be whole within yourself. You are whole. As a human being, you're whole. You as a woman, as a girl, you are enough by yourself.
100%.
You don't become something because you're so-and-so's wife. Or you are,
Or even just becoming a mother. Having a child. Like, for someone who, and I'm grateful for my children, love them. They were my saving grace. God knew I needed to have them. Otherwise, I honestly genuinely don't know if I will even be here. But I want girls and women to know that it goes back to what you say, being whole. But being whole requires you to be in solitude within yourself.
Yeah.
So it requires you to be isolated and to know who you are, tap into your intuition, into your spiritual gifts. And then having a man just becomes an added just bonus.
Yeah.
Right? So it shouldn't be, because obviously, you know, growing up when all you know is get married, have kids, and because it's been passed down generation to generations. And I'm really grateful that my mom is slowly beginning to understand that, because I'm getting a lot of less pressure from her. Like, we haven't had this.
She's coming to terms with it. They do come to terms with it.
They do, yeah.
You don't blame them, because, Rose, the best thing that your parents want for you is to have a good life.
That's right.
Well, how is a good life defined? They have a different way of defining what a good life is.
That's right.
So when we speak and be like, you want to travel the world, and they're like, huh?
Yeah.
But why? No, a good life is having kids. It's having children.
Yeah.
So you're not fighting them. You're actually getting to a point that you understand them. And you know what? They got to a point where my mom was like,
Yeah, literally.
Well, sometimes I don't need to get into that confrontation. I don't need to go back and forth, because I made peace with the fact that their upbringing, their mentality is different.
Yeah.
And they're not all going to move at the same pace. But slowly by slowly, they will come to terms to it.
Yeah.
You know, and they are coming to terms with it.
Yeah.
Because you do see that now it's just been like, Sonia one, there's nobody. And you'll be like, yeah, mom, there's nobody. And she's like,
oh, okay. She's like, oh, okay. And now she even got to the point where she's like, you know what? The next guy that you're with, I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
But it took like countless conversations, like to really just acknowledging, like, look, listen, this is where I'm at,
and I'm good like that,
and like I'm okay. I said, Mom, I'm good, I'm safe, I'm resilient like you. You know, I have your wisdom, and I can manage. You're here. I'm privileged, and I'm honored that I have my mother here, because I can't imagine the other mothers out there who don't have a support system, who don't have their parents, who don't have anyone. So it's a privilege that I have my mother that's there. So I'm like, you're there, I'm here. You know, the kids have their paternal family members. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm good. And what you need to understand is, as long as I'm happy, I need to be in safe relationship. I need to be in healthy relationship. This is what it looks like. So coming to a point where you're actually having those conversations with your parents, it's about educating each other. And obviously it's unfamiliar at first, and they're resistant. But over time, when they see that you have this aura, you have this spirit, you know, like, you're ambitious, you're accomplishing all these things. Like, I tell my mom, look, I have these opportunities, and she sees the growth, and she's genuinely so proud. And she's like, you know what, as long as you're happy. You know, I'm going on holiday trips for the first time overseas, and she's like, I'm happy for you. I'm happy to stay with the kids. Like, be happy. I'm like, being happy is the most beautiful thing. I'm like, I wouldn't want you to be in an unhealthy relationship. You know what I mean? So I think it just goes back to having those hard but transparent and open and honest.
Sisterhood, I think, for everybody, and this is why I always mention individually growing first, because how that gets defined is going to depend on where you are in life. And when I say where you are, it's where you are mentally, emotionally, psychologically. All those things matter, you know, because sometimes we could see a 35-year-old, but they're stuck being 12. And I think that's the hard part to navigate. It took me a while to get the women that were around me at some point, that even though I outgrew them, I literally held grace for them, but they didn't hold grace for my growth. And that hurt, because when I started saying, like, I'm gonna be intentional about my life, I didn't stop going to places with them or seeing them. There was some places that I'll say no to, or refuse to sit in certain conversations, but it didn't necessarily mean that I looked down and I did not want to talk to you. But it came with, Nato thinks she's better now. And at some point, you're gonna have to sit with that, in the sense that if you want growth, you're gonna have to go through growing pains. And growing pains come with being by yourself until you make sense of what that would look like for you. So back then, sisterhood was basically people that I hang around with, people that I just, chilled and did things with, that were not really meaningful in a sense. It's just, we were dealing with our moms. We were dealing with the fact that I need to get out of the house because I've been doing 10,000 things for my siblings, and I just did not care. As long as anybody wanted to come out with me, I was okay with that. But where I'm at right now and the life that I'm trying to create is sisterhood for me. Those are the aunties that are going to be for my kids. Those are the women that will see my kids and be that village. So my values, our principles have to align. I don't care if we're cousins. I don't care if we have the same blood. If my values and your values are not aligned, you're not going to be in my circle. I'll see you in the community. Yes, I'll say hi to you here and there. But I wanted an intentional sisterhood that becomes a tribe that can hold me accountable. Because one thing that I've realized is we've grown up with just being tapped on the back. Like, there's things that your friend is doing and almost digging their own grave or going to a place of no return. And because we don't want to have tough conversations, people are just going to keep being quote unquote friends and not hold each other accountable and say, hey sis, that's not right. What you're doing is not, So I am building a friendship, a sisterhood that tomorrow, the next generation, the people that when they see us together, they'll be like, okay, you know what? Those are the women I want to be like. And I don't mean it in external. It's like there's something about you guys, that aura. Because what they say, this people can, the people you never forget is how they make you feel. I want to be able to be compassionate, but I want to be able to also be like, no, get your shit together. I don't sit there and just be around people who are just going to be okay with me messing up my life. And because we've grown up together, we've known each other for 15 years, 20 years, I want to keep that friendship. I don't want to keep a friendship if we're just going to keep it safe. Safe in the sense that I can't have a tough conversation with you. I want to have sisterhood that tomorrow when I'm fucking up in my relationship with my kids, they can be like, Nako, why don't your kids like that? You need to have a break. The aunties that I wanted for myself, I'm going to create for my children. That's what womanhood, that's what sisterhood is for me. And I am learning about African spirituality. We have been diverted from the true essence of womanhood and the matriarch in Africa. The matriarch was literally the foundation. It held communities together. And I want to go back to that. And that is tough. It's ugly. It's someone saying, like, you as a woman, our grandmothers were not having these kid conversations where you're hurting somebody, you're breaking a home, you're doing things, and someone's just going to sit there and say to you, like, it's nothing. No, it was tough. And sometimes you did feel isolated, but you need to be held accountable. So I want to be that person, but I also want to be held accountable. Naka, you say this is who you are. When I've stepped out of the line, can Rose turn around and say, Naka, wait a minute. What are you doing? Yeah. And I'm still not bitter. Yeah. We can still sit in that uncomfortability and say, you know what, Rose, I'm not ready to hear you right now, but we're still going to have this conversation. Not dismiss it, So that's where I see sisterhood becoming, and even that cheerleaders that when I'm stepping into rooms, when they're stepping into the rooms, there's no jealousy. It's keep going, what they say, like sisterhood, where I know my name will be mentioned in the rooms that I'm not in, but my sisters. That's right. When they think about that job, they'll be like, actually, that could be good for Nakel. That could be good for Rose. Opening up opportunities, no gatekeeping. That's right. Yeah. That's sisterhood. And that in its true answers, that is the matriarch. That is Africa in that I am because you are, we are, Ubuntu. If Rose is not doing good, I'm not doing good. You know, if Rose is doing good, I'm doing good. You know, in reverse, vice versa. So taking that to a point that I can sit and say, wow, you know what? The next generation coming behind us, they got this. You know, that comes from us now creating that space that they can be mentored by us. That's what I see sisterhood. And that's where I would truthfully speak. By God's grace, going to happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But how would
I
you
think
define it for you?
You basically covered it all in a nutshell. I think what I would just add is that, you know, sisterhood definitely, it looks different now, obviously, to what you said. So I'm able to understand that there's a differentiation. English. You can differentiate between friends, acquaintances, colleagues. So they're all separate. Whereas before, like, everyone was my friend. Everyone, I'm telling you. And even they're probably like, no, she's not my friend. Like, I know her.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, they're my friend. So it's it's one of those I had to understand over time that, and it comes with experiences, it comes with wisdom, it comes with getting to know who you are and what are your values and what does friendship look like for you. So I think what I would say is, because again, the past couple of years, you know, I've gone through a drastic shift in terms of friendships, and my reflection has always been for me, and this was a couple of years ago, I told myself, if you want friendships, or if you want friends that you're asking for now, does that reflect the person that you are? And it was one of those moments where it was very confronting, in a sense of like, oh, you asked for these friends, but are you transparent? Do you hold yourself accountable? Are you safe? Are you a safe person? And within my own personal reflection, there were some areas where I definitely needed improvement and I needed to redefine. And because, yes, I've been able to acknowledge truthfully that, yes, I've been an unsafe person, especially during the times where, you know, I was abusing, alcohol, like, you know, when I was struggling with my problematic alcohol use. Yes, I put people in unsafe situations. I've made decisions that has hurt people, obviously not intentionally, because the one thing I knew about myself is that I was not one to intentionally hurt someone, right? But because of situations, I've put myself in situations where I've indirectly hurt others. So this is things that I had to hold myself accountable. I had to acknowledge that what are certain things that you've done that didn't make you a good friend, and what can you do moving forward to reflect that improvement in your life, and how that can mirror your friends. So I think that's just one thing that I will add, is that you ask for, if you want, friends that hold you accountable, that are transparent, that are open, that are compassionate, that are all these things, you need to ask yourself, are you that person? Yeah. Are you that safe? Are you a safe person? Do you hold yourself accountable? Do you hold your friends accountable? Do you know how to navigate conflicting situations?
Conflict.
Because that's something that we don't do as women. So we're so quick to cut off our friends, but we can give our partner thousands of chances. Why can't we do the same thing for our sisters? Yeah. Like, where's the balance? It goes back. Where's the balancing the scales here? Right? You have someone that you've been friends with for 10 plus years. The minute that they've done something, whether it's intentional or unintentional, directly or indirectly, why can't I have a conversation with them? And I'm easy to cut them off. And I get it. It's a case by case thing, and I want to acknowledge that. But I'm looking through a lens of, why can you hold conversations to your partner, but you can't do the same thing for your sister? who you called a friend.
Yeah.
So that's something that I just want to add, and it's one of those ongoing reflections for myself, and I'm always checking in with myself. You know, how were you today with your friends? Was there something that came up? Was there something that you were uncomfortable with? Was there something that you need to have a conversation? Like even with me and Nakel, it's gone to the point where we're in tune, we're in sync. Like even if she can sense that I'm feeling some type of way, and she just knows that, okay, maybe I'm not gonna have a conversation with her now, but I'm gonna give her a day or two to sit on whatever it is, but I'm gonna have a follow-up conversations. And at times it can feel difficult to take in, but I always know it's from a place of love. So being comfortable to have difficult conversations, and getting to a point where you can disagree to agree. Like we don't always have to agree with each other.
Exactly.
We can respectfully just agree from a different perspective, a different lens, but still respect each other as sisters and as friends. So I think that's just what I would add in is like, you want that sisterhood, you want that tribe, you gotta be that person. And it's a continuous ongoing learning journey, you know. So yeah, that's just what I'll add.
Awesome, guys. So we're gonna wrap it up. Happy International Women's Day to all the women that are gonna watch this. I really just want to thank each and every one of you guys, the younger sisters, the older sisters, the mothers, the aunties, the women who have walked this path in ways that or were not even able to have their flowers be given to you. We give you your flowers. And we recognize that there is no way we're sitting on this couch if it wasn't for you guys. And even, you know what? To all the girls' friendships that we've had, both Rose and I, whether that relationship outgrew each other and we went our separate ways, just know there was no hard feelings. We outgrow each other, and as humans, if you're not going to change, then you're not evolving. And if you're not evolving, then you are not becoming better. I hope that when you sit down and watch this podcast, look at it that it's two women who understand that they're not perfect, but in their imperfect, they are able to, you know, redefine and still sit with each other and still be like, you know what? There's spaces that we fucked up in.
That's right.
And we do recognize it. Yeah. And I think hence why now our relationship with Rose, it's more intentional where she knows I will hold her accountable. There's tough conversations I want to have with her and vice versa. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So we're going to end it as the way we always do with a quote.
That's right.
So today we've spoken strength, we've spoken family, we've spoken womanhood, sisterhood. I think we want to leave it with something that captures this whole moment or this whole session today, which is strength is not what we carry,
it's what we allow ourselves to release.
So release
all the expectations, all the conditionings. Release it, let it go, and tap into your true self, your true calling, your purpose, and embrace yourself, honor yourself, take time for yourself, take yourself for a coffee by yourself, read that book, book that holiday. Don't resist, because when we're doing things for others, we never hesitate. But when we want to do things for ourselves, we're always like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. It's like, take that trip.
Yep.
Go on that holiday. Stop thinking about it. Go on that holiday. Take yourself to wherever you need to go. Take that, take your kids to someone, a trusted family or friend for a day or two. And go out into nature. Be free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly.
Let our cup run over. What's in our cup is ours. Let it run over.
Let it overflow.
And then let people take the overflow. But you pour into yourself. Women, we are the foundations to our families. And when we're broken, our homes are broken. It's a fact. Thank you guys.
Thank you for watching.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.